Yeah, what's going on? It's Momo, Head Movement TV, Halamala Chalava, with the main man, my boy, Paulie Malignaggi. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's the press conference for DILLIAN, Whyte and Chisora. Give us your thoughts on what do you think is going to happen?
With the undercard press conference, some really talented guys on the undercard and some really interesting matchups. The step up from Whyte, I think, is one of the best prospects in the world, and not just in England. So I've been always impressed with seeing him thus far in his career. And obviously, at this point in anybody's career, they're supposed to win fights. So it's not the fact that he's winning; it's how he's winning him, it's how he's disposing of guys. It's his professional manner in which he's handling his business in there. It looks very, very good. And I look forward to watching him mature and looking forward to see how he looks in this step up, to see if he continues to be impressive or if he shows some things that he needs to work on. The matchup with Rosales and Edwards. I really like that matchup.
You're right, bro.
I like that matchup because it's two young guys, a championship level fight. And I really think that when you have guys that age, they're still fighting for their boxing future. Yes, there's a world championship already on the line, and they're accomplished fighters, but they're not. You're still fighting for legacy at that age, And so it's great to watch hungry young fighters with talent, with skill, show that fire and fight when they're still in that fire portion of their careers, And so I'm really excited about that fight as well. And when everything's on the line, obviously, with the world championship. And
what do you think Charlie needs to do to win that fight?
Charlie's got a good boxing base. I think he's just got to be more professional than he was in the Casemiro fight. Show a little bit more maturity and poise. And I think he's got that. But at the same time, Rosales is not going to give him any handouts either. And of course, when the fights get into the trenches, which sometimes these fights do, I think both guys will be willing to deal with that as well because they're young and they have that fire. So I think you'll see a firefight in spots and a skill fight in other spots. And I think it'll be interesting to watch how it evolves.
Okay, so obviously the main event, DILLIAN Whyte, Chisora. First one was a cracker.
First one was a cracker. I expect the same of this one. Derek's a bit older, but he's coming off a big win, which will really give him a lot of confidence. Derek has always been a guy who is durable and is always a rough guy to deal with. He went distance with Vitaly Klitschko when Vitaly was top of his game, knocking guys out. He's always been a rough character to deal with. And the first fight with DILLIAN, who's always been a rough character to deal with as well, it shows us that styles make fights, and these two styles should give us a dynamite combination.
What's the heavyweight division like from your perspective? Obviously, you come from America, you know what their narrative is.
From my particular perspective, I think Wilder, Fury, and Joshua are the main guys. You want to mix and match them. I think Fury showed a different dimension in the fight with Wilder, and I think he put himself a little bit ahead of the other two. But I think the other two are still a bit ahead of everybody else as well. So I'll say that they're probably the top three. But I don't think they're as far removed from some of the other guys as much as some people might think. Brazil's improving, DILLIAN Whyte's improving. There's guys like Kubrat Pulev still lurking in the shadows.
Povetkin as well.
Povetkin as well was giving Joshua a good fight till he was stopped. I think the top three are the top three. You want to mix and match them how you want. But I think respect to Fury and respect to Wilder fighting each other, and respect to Joshua for still trying to get in there with them as well. But I think none of the three guys are as dominant as Klitschko was in his time. But I think that also makes them fun to watch. I think the fact that they're not as dominant or probably not as good in their prime as Klitschko was in his also makes them a little bit more bearable for the rest of the heavyweight division to be able to upset them on any given night. And we've seen that come close a couple of times in each of their fights. We've seen Joshua go down. We've seen Wilder hurt. But we've also gotten to see a lot of character from both guys. We've seen Tyson Fury have to get up off the canvas. So we've seen guys who are a bit more susceptible and a bit more flawed than Vladimir Klitschko who was almost perfection in his time. But at the same time, that gives us a chance to see the character.
Makes it a bit more Hollywood.
Yes, we make it more Hollywood because we get to see the character that we love to respect and love to cheer about in fighters, in our favorite fighters. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes a guy who's too dominant, people don't understand the skills and the talent.
Do you
sort of like Floyd Mayweather, sort of like Vladimir Klitschko. So I think the top three are the top three, and for sure I think they're the top three. I don't think anybody else is at that level, but I don't think the levels below them are that far behind them, and I don't think they're as high as the Klitschko level was. They themselves are not as high as the Klitschko level was at one time.
Do you buy into anyone's ducking anyone, or Is it just begun?
No, I think it's just business. You know, I think it's just business. It's tough to sometimes come to terms. I think the fighters all want to fight each other, but everybody wants to make the right fight for the right kind of business sense. And of course, when it comes to business, people use their leverage and their the amount of commodity that they are, so to speak. And Joshua's obviously the biggest commodity of the bunch. So of course, it's going to be harder to make a deal with Joshua because he's such a commodity. You're going to have to give a lot more than you want. And and sometimes, like I don't know if this is true, but I heard, the rematch terms for Wilder weren't what he liked for the Joshua fight. And if that's the case, and I'm just saying if I don't know the terms in time. If that's the case, then yeah, I would agree with Wilder that if Wilder beats Joshua, then the rematch terms have to be more in Wilder's favor. Obviously if there will be a rematch. If not, then of course the rematch terms to be in Joshua's favor. I don't know. This is just a rumor that I heard. But regardless of the fact, I think the fighters want to fight each other. It's just, you get one right chance to negotiate it right. You know what I'm saying? Because once it's on paper, it's done and it's dealt with. And then, you just got to fight. So I think everybody just wants to make it right for themselves. But I think all these guys are competitors. And obviously, you would hope things get worked out.
Moving on, we're not going to talk about Amir Khan and Kell Brook because obviously there's libraries on what everyone's
many years we've been talking about that fight.
And you'll see different hairstyles, different all sorts. No, Khan versus Crawford, obviously that still yet to be announced. But how do you fancy his chances?
It's crazy because there was a time where I always felt like Amir Khan was a nightmare for any boxer. He's a difficult guy to time. If you watch Amir against any boxer, he always dismantled him. You know what I'm saying? So you had to bring a more physical style to a fight with Amir to trouble him. Because Amir is a great fighter in the respect that he fights. And
he's great at winning rounds.
If he's great at winning rounds, and he's tough to time because he's so long and lanky, and he's got that weird rhythm, and he's super, super fast. So it's tough to time him. If you're to take a boxing approach, it's very tough to beat him in his prime. The only guys that had trouble with him were guys made it a physical fight, punch with him, so to speak. You had to almost take those chances, be willing to get hit. Boxers don't really have that mentality, a boxer, a technical boxer. But I noticed in the last fight, something you'd never seen before in Amir Khan. From a sitting position, which Amir was always dominant in, from a sitting position, Sammy Vargas was able to throw a jab right hand from a sitting position where Amir was there, and he was able to catch him and drop him. Something I've never seen Amir get caught with before. Amir has only been caught with guys who punch with him, who were able to just make a messy fight and somehow able to catch him.
That's why he has his hand out when he falls sometimes. Yes. He's trying to punch at the same time.
Because sometimes he overstays his welcome. I used to call it where he's supposed to only throw a 3-punch combination, but he gets greedy and throws a 6-punch combination, and he gets caught on the out. Because only guys who can punch with him were physical and would be able to catch him in his prime. But a guy with not to diminish Vargas, but a guy with the skill level of Vargas, who's good, and they're definitely very tough, were able to land a 1-2 to drop Vargas, drop Khan right from a sitting position. That told me he's been diminished. You never, ever saw that in Amir. Ever. So now, which brings me to the Crawford fight. Crawford is a boxer. I think a few years ago, this is an unbelievable fight because Crawford is like a great boxer from both stances and whatnot, and Amir's just impossible to time. So what gives? Yeah. But I don't know at this point in time if Khan has what he was before, and that's and that's I guess only natural.
That's fair enough. No worries, I'll leave you to it, Paulie. Thanks for your time as always, bro. Momo at Movement TV, hello Mara Talavala with the main man, Paulie, the Magic Man Malignaggi. Thank you, bro.